Recently, a notable analysis in the National Football League brought an unexpected statement about the 49ers. Not only is it completely wrong, but it also overlooks at least 4 relevant aspects that will be discussed next. The statement in question is that it underestimates the 49ers. The analysis points out that the Rams will occupy the top position, followed by the Seahawks, then the Cardinals, and finally the 49ers. Regarding the 49ers, the analysis expresses dissatisfaction with what it observes and with the draft choices. It suggests that Kyle Shanahan made risky decisions, prioritizing immediate success over the future. While it does not claim that they are a 5-win team, it believes Arizona could achieve between 10 and 11 wins. Let's examine this in detail, as there are 4 reasons that demonstrate how wrong it is. Initially, regarding dissatisfaction with the decisions made by the 49ers, what exactly is there to disapprove of? The only plausible criticism could be the departure of some players, such as Deebo Samuel and Hwanga. This perspective may be understandable, but the choice involving Deebo Samuel seems justifiable in the long term. The move related to Hwanga also seems sensible, considering that this situation was already expected and there are young talents ready to fill those spots. As for Dre Greenlaw, I understand the concern since he was an important player, but we've discussed this matter before. He expressed the desire to leave the team, so it's not fair to hold the 49ers responsible for this situation. They tried to keep him, but were unsuccessful. The next criticism concerns dissatisfaction with the 49ers draft choices. This is a topic that will be addressed soon, as it is crucial. However, the way it was described as an initiative of Kyle Shanahan is quite confusing. How does this draft resemble a typical Shanahan draft? The first 5 picks were all defensive players. This claim does not hold up. It not only reflects a lack of understanding, but also insufficient research on the topic. In my view, this allegation is absurdly incoherent. It's hard to understand this point of view. It seems unfounded. Suggesting that this draft is influenced by Shanahan, especially in a year when the emphasis was placed on defensive players, is a mistake. If there is a plausible argument, it would align more with Robert Saleh's vision than Shanahan's. As we analyze the draft choices, it becomes increasingly clear this entire context leads us to an important figure in the coaching scene, and we can see this influence clearly in this draft, particularly with the selection of several defensive players. If one were to argue, it could be said that this draft reflects a particular vision, at least in part. Now, as we evaluate the final rounds of the draft, even with respect to the choices made, we can begin to understand the idea that the team may be targeting certain players. That said, there is a logical basis for such decisions. However, the main point is that there seems to be a devaluation of the value of this draft, and it's important to discuss 4 reasons why this analysis may be incorrect. Let's then address the first point. Clearly, this draft is being underestimated. There is no contesting the positive outlook on it. The insights that emerge today throughout this discussion reinforce this. It's evident that there are diverse opinions on this draft. There is a significant perception of error regarding its value, similar to what happens with certain analysts and organizations who use specific metrics to define success. In their view, the team seems to have adopted a different approach, focusing on improving its roster with exceptional talents in the needed areas, and that's exactly what they achieved. It's clear that it's a privilege when teams don't need to select based on immediate needs. The prioritization of needs this year influenced their strategy. Just yesterday, a conversation came up about what was mentioned regarding teams regretting their decisions, particularly allowing a prominent player to fall to a lower pick. Recently, several analysts have expressed that they consider this player a strong candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. This reflects a consensus among several leading analysts, highlighting their recognition of the player's potential, while some seem to completely disregard the draft. There is a strong belief that this player is the main candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Many analysts are sharing this view, underlining the credibility of their evaluations. However, there are divergent opinions, as some seem critical of the draft direction, especially with a key figure deeply involved in the process of selecting defensive players. It's hard to align with this perspective. What was said about another promising player? It was highlighted that this player is an intimidating presence perfectly capturing the sentiments expressed when he was chosen. This athlete is indeed a formidable force on the defensive line. Additionally, other players were pointed out as potential steals from the upcoming draft. There are only positive comments about certain individuals as well as impressive impressions of others. The athleticism demonstrated by various players continues to impress with their metrics. Many believe the injuries that have affected another player are behind him, and he is expected to assume a key position, potentially becoming a significant asset. The anticipation surrounding his draft is palpable, and it's difficult to comprehend. The critical perspective. It seems that the evaluation may be misguided. Now let's focus on the current roster. We've already addressed the draft, which remains full of uncertainties, but we cannot downplay the talent already on the team. Christian McCaffrey, before he was injured last season, was considered the third best player in the National Football League. He had time to recover and return to the field, having prepared in the last season to get back to his performance. This is favorable for McCaffrey, and I've mentioned this before, so I won't elaborate further. Fred Warner was ranked as the 11th best player before the last season, while George Kittle was 14th. Nick Bosa was ranked 27th, Brock Purdy 28th, and Brandon Ayuk 66th. These positions reflect the quality of the players on the roster when we started the last season. If we disregard injuries, circumstances, and the coach for a moment, we can see the value of the players who were highlighted among the top 100 at the beginning of last season. For instance, Brandon Ayuk was in the 28th position, and Brandon Ayuk in the 66th. These are players who, when starting the previous season, considering the injuries and the situation and leaving aside the coach's issue, we can say were among the top 100 at the start of the previous season. It's evident that we're not talking about those who have already left the team. Therefore, the 49ers still have a very robust roster. Is it perfect? Certainly not. Is it a Super Bowl team? Not yet, at least not at this moment. It's definitely not a roster ready for the Super Bowl. There's still a lot to be done to make that happen. But how can we say that if all these players return healthy and if Trent Williams comes back in good condition? In addition to all these athletes also being healthy and Dominic Paughan showing clear improvement at the right guard position, we have a veteran tackle who arrived recently to replace a former player. The 49ers are making moves. They're still moving. I'm not saying that the 49ers are perfect, but they've clearly made progress with the roster through the draft. The players who remain, such as George Kittle and Brock Purdy, remain exceptional athletes. They can still adapt to the system effectively. So I cannot understand how anyone can take this seriously. It seems like he really believes his own words. Or maybe he's just trying to provoke and grab attention. If that's the case, it seems to be working since we're discussing it now. The 49ers have completely updated their coaching staff. They changed the defensive coordinator and also made changes to the special teams coordinator. New professionals came in to work on the defense. So the 49ers have undergone several transformations in their coaching staff. I think this change, compared to the previous coach, was the most significant of the offseason. There was no mention or acknowledgement of this. I can't understand how anyone could think the 49ers are at the bottom. Numerous changes have occurred in the coaching staff, and this particular change stands out as one of the most significant in the offseason. Some analysts don't recognize or fail to give proper importance to this aspect. It's really hard to understand how anyone could consider the 49ers to be the worst in the league given the advances and improvements they've made. Again, I don't consider them the best team in the NFC, but they are undoubtedly a much better team and are actively competing. Additionally, it's worth mentioning that the odds indicate the 49ers are favored to win the NFC West division, which brings an interesting perspective in relation to the Rams. The Rams, who seem to have improved from the previous season, are the defending division champions. Therefore, I don't believe the 49ers are guaranteed to win the NFC West. Not at all. I believe they will fight hard and have a good chance to battle for the division title. However, I'm optimistic about their chances of winning the NFC West. And it seems the market shares that optimism, indicating that it's not just my personal opinion. Furthermore, we must consider the difficulty of the schedule. which is often overlooked when discussing what the 49ers will face compared to other teams. If we analyze the strength of the schedule for the San Francisco 49ers, it will certainly develop next week as we learn more. Although the strength of the schedule itself remains unchanged, factors like the rest differential will come into play, allowing for a deeper analysis of how the 49ers will perform in the upcoming schedule release, which is set for next Wednesday. However, based on what we know now, how can anyone overlook a team that has such a remarkable opportunity in its schedule and an impressive roster? Speaking of the roster, we haven't mentioned Ricky Pale yet. What an interesting player he is. Next week, one day from now. But at this moment, with what we understand, how is it possible to evaluate a team that has such an extraordinary opportunity in its schedule? Speaking of the roster, we still haven't discussed Ricky Pyle. Let me quickly look up some information. According to ESPN, there's a projection made by an analyst. I'll need to address this in another video at some point, but he predicted what he thinks will happen with the 49ers. He projected that Ricky Pale will be healthy for 15 games, estimating he will catch 96 passes, resulting in 64 receptions for 892 yards, almost a 1,000-yard season, along with 4 touchdowns. Additionally, he predicts that a specific player this season will have 217 attempts for over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. He expects this player to be targeted 76 times in the passing game, totaling 515 yards and 3 touchdowns in the air. This is a projection of what is expected for the 49ers. If the 49ers can get Ricky Pyle to achieve numbers similar to another player from last season, who from what I understand is a different type of wide receiver, it could be significant. However, if this situation materializes and another standout player is also managing 60 to 70 receptions while adding 1,000 yards on the field, are you kidding me? Do you really believe this is a team incapable of surpassing the Cardinals? I don't agree with that. Furthermore, I have no high expectations for a certain quarterback. In my opinion, we've already seen the best of him. No offense, but I don't believe they'll be able to maximize his potential with the offensive line in Seattle. So share your thoughts in the comments. As always, I appreciate your collaboration. This is part of the excitement of sports discussions. Divergent opinions are completely acceptable. However, this perspective seems surprising to me, and I consider it completely absurd. It seems like a certain commentator is just revealing their true intentions. Certainly, I understand and accept this idea. This is undoubtedly an exciting aspect of debating sports. The divergence of opinions is more than valid, but I see this viewpoint as truly surprising. I think this point of view is completely wrong, and it seems there's a revelation of the true intent behind certain comments, whether they are quite out of context or aimed at attracting attention. I'm not sure which of these alternatives is correct. I thank everyone and wish each one of you an excellent day. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a shocking and historic development, Aaron Rodgers has officially confirmed his transfer to the San Francisco 49ers. The announcement puts an end to months of speculation surrounding the veteran quarterback's future and sets the stage for a new chapter in the career of one of the most accomplished players in NFL history. Rodgers, who spent the bulk of his illustrious career with the Green Bay Packers before a short stint with the New York Jets, now joins the 49ers roster already loaded with talent and playoff ambitions. Known for his precision passing, football IQ, and clutch performances, Rodgers brings not only experience, but also a hunger for another Super Bowl run. His arrival instantly elevates San Francisco into top contender status for the upcoming season. The move carries special significance considering Rodgers grew up in Northern California as a 49ers fan and was famously passed over by the team in the 2005 NFL Draft. Now, nearly 2 decades later, the 40-year-old quarterback returns to the Bay Area with a mission: to deliver a Lombardi trophy to the team he once dreamed of playing for as a child. The 49ers offensive unit, already dynamic with stars like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle, stands to benefit greatly from Rodgers' leadership and playmaking abilities. Head coach Kyle Shanahan, known for his innovative schemes, now has a quarterback capable of executing even the most complex plays with poise and precision. The pairing of Rodgers and Shanahan could prove to be one of the most formidable combinations in the league. While the full details of the trade or signing have yet to be released, the impact is immediate and profound. NFL fans and analysts alike are already recalibrating expectations for the season ahead. And excitement in San Francisco is palpable. For Rodgers, this is more than a professional move. It's a homecoming, a final opportunity to write a legendary closing chapter to a Hall of Fame career. And for the 49ers, it's an all-in push toward championship glory. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.